Each traveller sees with different eyes. Hello and welcome to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Roadwarden. So we're going to dive into our save and see where that takes us. Okay, so we're resting in creeks. Doing alright, a little bit hungry maybe. It's the morning time. Let's have a little think about what we want to achieve today. One thing I would like to do is kind of head over to... well, it's muddy caves, muddy roads today as well. Okay, well let's have a little think about this. So I think I definitely want to head into the east today. I want to go and awaken this giant. I think I've got something I can use to speak to the elders in the Green Mountain tribe. And we've also got this sign, haven't we? The carpenter's given us to put at the old bridge. So let's do that. Let's go there first. The purple squirrel is sitting on the broken boat, observing you with a hazelnut in its tiny paws. When your horse snorts, the critter runs away in panic. Time to stop lugging around this painted plank. The convenient remains of a shrub help you tie the plank above the ground. After a few minutes you step away and take a look at the new sign. I'd rather see people building new paths, not hide them. Roach peacefully chews the grass, enjoying the sun on its back, ready to take a nap. Let's go, we're going to go to the giant. It's solemnly quiet here, like in a monastery garden. Let's return to the statue. Well, kneeling's obviously the right thing. We're actually doing it automatically now. I try to awaken it. What do you try to do? Well, the old man, the elder, he gave us a prayer, didn't he? So maybe we should pray. You say a few words and your thoughts are unusually keen and focused, as if you've entered a new stage of the ritual. You utter a complete short prayer, but nothing happens. You suddenly hesitate. This is not something Right's followers are supposed to do. I don't care, I won't sabotage my journey now. As your head leans even lower, it feels heavier and your heart beats faster. I repeat the phrases in the old speech that I was taught before. You place the blanket beneath your knees. You bow down your head and stretch out your arms, reciting the strange sounds you've memorized and which sound to you like a dragon's hiss. Roach gazes on the grass, unmoved by your efforts. Long minutes go by. It's actually getting on a bit, isn't it? It's already nearly 6 hours before dusk. Tiny stars, white, blue, orange and yellow, emerge from the dark cloak, one after another. Some of them grow in size and intensity, while many more stay dim. After a few moments, they move no more, and you get used to the hollow darkness remaining between them. It may take me hours, but I do my best to memorize everything I can about the signs presented on the statue. Okay, how long did that take us? Okay. I think we can get to the Green Mountain tribe. You try to get used to the carved surface of the cloak and the plentitude of distracting small dots. For most of the time, you manage to stay focused. After less than an hour, you manage to spell out the positions and colours of the larger dots from memory, then again and again. You step away convinced that you've got this. And I've no idea what that's for, but hopefully it's useful. Okay, it's time to travel on. Got time to get up there, that's fine. The villagers are busy with their work, sometimes glancing at you from a distance, but not paying much attention to you. A few of them grab spears and tools and approach the entrance, previously unguarded. The Saurian rider shows up soon after. I show her my possessions. Do any of these interest you? And as I thought, they're quite happy to have the cask of cider. She finds a few things that her tribe could use and puts them on an unfolded blanket. Her neighbours gather around, light-heartedly commenting on the things you carried onto the mountain. Do that. You try to explain what the cask's contents are, but since the word cider seems to mean nothing to the locals, you call it a sweet apple beer, pointing at the tree behind you. A few of the locals are greatly interested in taking a whiff, but you try to explain that it's not possible since it may spoil soon. After a short debate, the Saurian rider admits that we drink water and milk, not beers. 'Tis gift is fine. Very well, take it. She gives you a few minutes to pack up your belongings. Let your beast stay on to grass. I'm going to go Irish now with this. She pats its side. It's safe here. After you tether Roach to a tree, keeping it away from most garden patches, you head to the cave mouth. The corridor goes down, getting darker after only a few steps. But seeing how often the locals go through it without any source of light, you doubt there's going to be many treacherous steps ahead of you. Still, your guide leaves the shed with a lantern made of old brass, with windows engraved with winged dragons circling around an erupting volcano. I grab my own crude lantern. The tongue sticking out of the entrance doesn't go on for long. For some time you descend gently, then encounter a set of spiral stairs. Once you reach the bottom, you find yourself in a labyrinth of tunnels and chambers, some of them sunk in darkness, others lit by campfires, with smoke leaving through holes in the ceilings. Spread among them are dozens of children and elders, but also workbenches and other spots worked by adults, some of them too busy to even spare you a look. There are woodworkers, water carriers, potters, flour millers, cooks. You hardly notice how stuffy the air is down here. Seeing the consistently spacious corridors, conveniently wide enough for even an obese shell to squeeze through them, you can't tell how many, if any, of these passages were not made by human hands. The entire walk takes you only a few minutes, but the sheer amount of rooms you walk by makes you lose your way many times before you reach a short path leading to a bright, warm chamber, to which the saurian rider invites you with a gesture. You smell smoke and humidity, and as you listen, the humming of a stream reaches you from below. Much louder are the cries of an infant, amplified by an echo. I put away my lantern and enter the chamber. Oh. The simple huts are short enough for you to see the hide-covered roofs from above, and as you look at the ceiling, there's no water dripping on them. They don't offer much privacy either. Even if the entrances were covered with a curtain, the gaps between the bones let you peek inside. It's as if they one day collapsed here from the surface, losing their purpose, but remaining as a relic of the old way of living. While the huts are only filled with furs and a few pieces of clothing, the chamber is far from empty. A few women, some of them very young, some in their 30s or 40s, are sitting around the campfire, feeding infants or playing with toddlers. There's a man stretching a piece of leather on a tanning rack, and you hear splashes of water coming from a corner. When your eyes land on two people sitting in a circle of wooden stumps, their gaze makes your destination clear. Step closer. They're sitting a few steps away from one another, and as you're invited to sit down, the three of you form a triangle. The air is heavy, but you smell no sweat or dirt, and aside from the crying child and echoes of distant play and conversations, the dancing lights and crackling wood are no less cosy than an inn in the evening. The man in his 50s is leaning forward, resting his elbows on his thighs, more like a tied guard than a distinguished ruler. He's dressed just as heavily as the people you saw on the surface, but the fabric of his clothes is so dark blue that it's almost black. He's barefoot, and you wonder if that's enough to not make him sweat under the layers of wool. His helmet, shield, and sword are resting on the ground. His long grey hair freely surrounds his face, which is covered with wrinkles and scars. Some beast was lucky enough to leave a mark deeper than that. The man's nose is missing, leaving a disfigured hole. The woman could be 25, and has absent eyes that are roving over your outfit, equipment, face, and hands. She's dressed much more humbly than the man. Her tunic and pants are undyed and short enough to reveal her calves and forearms. She has unevenly cut short black hair and a yellow kerchief that's hanging from her neck, lazily thrown over her back. Her legs are stretched out in front of her, resting on the heels of her sandals and swaying left and right, spread just above an unfolded sack covered with gemstones, pebbles, and animal bones. She keeps her hands on the nearest trunk, desperate for something to support her back. Both of them are unusually pale, but the woman looks almost sick. I introduce myself. We've heard that you know naught of our tongue, starts the elder with a firm look. But I've talked with the city folk, and I'm going Cornish again. I've talked with the city folk more than I wanted, and our shaman. He looks at the young person in a light outfit. I told her what I knew, but knows little of the way you sound. Let her practice. She frowns and waves her hand in front of her nose as if there's a fly there. Hello? Her voice is both delicate and annoyed. Shaman Gayani, she struggles to utter. The man stares at you, speaking more confidently and with a greater familiarity of the sounds he uses. And I'm Cephas, the chief of the tribe of the Green Mountain. You'll give both you our time, but we've busy lives. I try to get used to their strange dialect. Who sends you so boring? We could be, This is interesting. I think about the words of the old druid. I'm a freedom seeker, a friend of the speakers of the forest. That seems like a good option. Although it's this vulnerable one that I don't tend to go for, that sounds like a good option. He straightens up, giving you a serious look. Then sit down with us and rest, for we've all found our freedom here. The shaman gives you both puzzled looks, but says nothing. May the freedom seeker be free of hunger and welcomed, he says to her, then addresses the woman sitting at the fire in the old speech. Soon after you sit down, an aromatic bowl of stew lands in your hands, warming them up. The chief and the shaman also receive very small servings, accompanying you. Once the bowls are taken away, the gentle voice of Gayani breaks the silence. Can't move mountains for you, but we listen and share. She reaches for a few gems in various colours and puts them in a single row. I'm trying to find Asterion. He was here, and a few times. With every word, Cephas's voice gets quieter as if he's not sure how to continue. We helped him, for he gave us a grand promise and a sign of his trustworthiness. Brought back a soul out to be lost in the woods. But it's been almost a season since we saw him. What kind of person is he? A shell lost on his path to nowhere? Gayani stares into your eyes. A soul torn by its dreams. A word spoken to no one. The chief frowns but doesn't add anything. The saurian I saw outside, it used to belong to Asterion, am I right? That's correct. Cephas's approving eyes contrast with the threatening look of his nose, and his voice is warm. Where he was heading, there was no place for a beast. It doesn't swim well, so he asked us to look after it. Also, he was afraid of unicorns. After you mention that you doubt having fewer teeth would help someone deal with such a monster, Gayani chuckles, then bites her lower lip, showing her unusually long canines. You'd like to cut the skin off a spirit of havoc? City folk think to unicorns are but a battering ram, yet they are their own soul carriers, led by judgment, not anger. They eat grass and shoots, not flesh, and when not with calves, listen to kind tales and prayers. The chief nods. It was wise of him not to take with him a bloodthirsty saurian. It won't learn when to bow, for it trusts only its own muscles and fear. But where did Asterion go? Cephas runs his stern eyes over you. To a place that doesn't need it, yet another city folk. Okay. I'd like to learn more about your village. And the shaman leans forward, smiling. The fire plays with her shadow. And how, in your tongue? Without crossing our tunnels, or ploughing our fields, or battling to snowcats, or making a cup bowl with our elders? She gestures for you to take a glance at the huts, the spears, and the rocks beneath her. We've our own seasons, trades, and legends. Spirits guide us to rough dreams and thunders. Children learn stories older than emperors. As she grows more passionate with every word, the chief observes her with a smile. He reaches for his sword, observing the dark scabbard covered with a fancy pattern of squares. I don't know if this is him talking. If we were a tribe of 10 cities, you'd like to hear it. We dig for ore, grow crops, hunt. We like some things, we have others in abundance, but we accept what we get and we won't open our gates to no merchants, or blood we can't trust. Who's the decision maker, you or the shaman? The village decides for the village, Cephas smiles. In the tribe, a chief worries about the things of today, and a shaman about the things of the past and tomorrow. Gayani looks at him with respect. For their harvest of the season, she says solemnly, but tastes like ashes without memories and hopes. She points at the bones and pebbles beneath her as if they're meant to explain it all. A quiet tune plays from the opposite end of the chamber in an attempt to calm a crying child. What do you think about Hovleven? We don't. Cephas's voice is cold, and when Gayani chips in, she hands you a soft, though heavy pouch. Inside, you find a collection of dozens of red crystals, each one smaller than a game die. The sea corsairs pillaged our homeland for years, saying they would stop once we agreed to pay yearly tribute. They murdered us and torched our harbours and crops, for we held the island before them and prayed to different spirits. You return the pouch and asks what the meaning is behind it. The shamans of old made a tomb with one rock for every soul lost to the 10 cities. They brought them here to help us remember. Can I help you with anything? Do we look as if we need one's help? Do you see cracks in our walls that can't be sealed up without your blood, or monsters you can sing to sleep? Gayani reaches for 2 green gems and places them on the edge of the fabric side by side. Don't get angry. Her voice is close to a whisper and seems to ease the ire in the chief's gaze right away. When she looks at you, she keeps her hands in front of her, palms up. Does your soul speak of pride or of care? Can't see it, but we're as good as is, and I ask you to trust our mounts to ask for us if we need him to. I expected this mountain to be a bit more green. We're of it, but not on it. Cephas glances at the flames. The Green Mountains on High Island. Gayani's voice becomes melodic, even though she pauses when she says a few of the more unique words out loud. To volcano into very centre. Around it our fields were growing like he could in no other soil of the north. After every few lifespans, lava turns to ashes, to woods at feeds, but these ashes give birth to the sweetest fruits and heaviest grain. Okay. Old Pagos was attacked by plague. We've lost quite a few options after saying that. Cephas glances at the puzzled shaman and says a word in the old speech, causing her to gasp and switch the positions of a few bones. He then looks at you. Terrible, but we can do nothing. They have to endure it and will not risk breathing their air. Gayani nods in agreement, even though there's a sadness to her voice. Souls and tribes come and go, but the woods abide. For 10 years now, we've let the lowlanders keep to themselves. The roads are dangerous. Do you have any useful equipment for me? The chief scoffs. Why, do you have something we may want? We don't have dragon bones. Don't trade, and we need what we have. We have... The shaman chips in, but then pauses, frowning. She says something in the old speech, and Cephas nods. Oh, you mean horns? He says and looks at you again. We could barter for it. Our guards and scouts use the horns of many beasts, but there's one type we don't use anymore. The warhorn? Gayani adds ominously. Roars like a dragon? The chief smirks. That's right. Most beasts flee when they hear it. I can't show you how it sounds. We'd go deaf. Can I at least see it? A dragon horn. When blown, it imitates the roar of an enormous creature. Barter. I don't really want to get rid of my new battle axe. Maybe another time. Farewell. Oh. The Forbidden Island. You found enough clues to believe that Asterion has travelled to High Island, northwest of the peninsula, and hasn't been seen ever since. So far, you know almost nothing about this place. I need to ask the locals about it. Indeed, I do. But it's 3 hours till dusk, and as it's muddy roads today, I don't feel like there's a lot I'm going to be able to do. I can only get as far as that small cave, you see. So I think we'll stay here the night. So let's just sleep. It's free. Don't need to heal, so we'll just sleep in the shed. You gladly leave the shed, making sure that Roach is safe and rested. Then prepare your equipment. There's but a few souls around, mostly the guards replacing the night shift. The Saurian rider is yawning. Without the helmet, she reveals her short chestnut curls. She's already keeping an eye on you from the cave mouth. Well, we're going to travel. And today... we're going to go to Eudocia first. I think we still need to get paid. And also... talk to her about this high island. Then we're going to maybe do a loop, so we'll talk to people at the Belt of the North about it. The Elder, Hallersdale, and we'll try and do a complete loop asking about this island and see what we can find out. So let's go to Eudocia first. You touch the cold shell. The monster's eyes glow red. So boring? Come inside. I could use a break. The golems let you in. They go straight to the house. Alright, let's ask about the bronze rods first. Eudocia wipes her hands on her robe, puts one into her pocket, and waits for you to describe the locations where you've placed the rods. She asks you for a few details, then thinks aloud. Let's see, 8 rods in total, so that would be... here you go. I guess we're done here. It looks so, it looks so. Thanks, Sir Boring. Fantastic. As a bonus reward for placing all of the rods, you can buy my spirit rocks cheaper. Such a journey would take me weeks, or it wouldn't, for I wouldn't try it. She chuckles, but as she twirls her hair, her eyes grow absent again. Have you ever heard about High Island? Ah, but of course, she says right away, then leans away and glances at your boots. Though, I didn't pay much attention to the monks' tales. She brushes her hair with her fingers, asking you to give her a moment. She doesn't share much with you. High Island is the largest island that's somewhere close to the coast, but its huge volcano makes it a worrying sight. It may be covered with green forests and hills, but no tribe aspires to claim it. You may want to ask Foggy. Sure, she loves tales of weird places. You left Old Pagos during the same time, when the village to the south collapsed. What happened? I'm no longer a part of the northern tribes. I shouldn't speak in their name. She looks at the hearth and at the crossbow, and finally at her clean fingernails. When you're at Old Pagos, who speaks with you? After you mention Tertia, she drawls out her words. If you have an hourglass, you may want to wear it. It'll be easier to convince her. After a long pause, you start to look around, and only then does she find the right words. And, is she healthy? I haven't talked with her in many years. You admit that your conversations don't give you the full picture, so all you can do is describe the confidence of her voice, and that the tribe seems to trust her. I'm happy for her, she says with an absent voice. You exchange looks. It may have little meaning now, but tell her as follows. The warden ought to know about Steep House, little otter. She looks away, blushing. She'll know it's from me. Do you need help with anything else? Her lips form a shadow of a smile. I do, but it won't be as much of an ordeal. Just a simple errand. She moves closer and pulls out a dry flower petal from her pocket. See, it's like an orange tulip, but it has much larger leaves. It's called snakebait. Bring me 1 or 2, freshly picked. I'll pay you 5 dragons. Fair enough. Weirdly enough, I already have it with me. Her eyes widen as she moves close to you. And I've got your dragons here? Her outstretched hand is shaking. These aren't good for you, you know. Yeah, you've no reason to worry. We had a deal, Sir Boring. Her bottom lip is shaking. The hunger in her grey eyes makes you lean away. How about 8? Her eyes are piercing through your skull. Turns out a lot of people want them. I could get 10 or more, but I'd rather keep my word. Her shoulders slump and her voice gets close to a whisper. Fine. She examines the petals carefully, avoiding your look. How much money do we have now? Feels like it's quite a lot. 39. That does feel pretty good. Alright. Let's go outside. And travel. So I think we're going to head back via the Pelt of the North. Need to eat, actually, don't we? Maybe I'll eat my wild plants. The guard welcomes you with a nod. As you ride in, the other hunters training with spears and staffs in the courtyard. You hear the sounds of work coming from the armourer's workshop. Let's talk to the guards, actually. We throw some dice. Hey, we won 3 gold. About the goblins. 10. Just so you know, I'll bring an axe with me. She looks at you as if you're a lunatic. We won't take you with us, Sir Boring. If you can kill a goblin, good, but we have a team. Our own words, knowledge of our strong and weak sides. We don't need you around, just give us 2 or 3 days after you pay us and we'll take care of it. Alright, let's clear those ruins because I feel like that we might want to explore a bit more there. And I can spare it. What have I got? Still got 32. Do you know anything about High Island? She looks at the other guards but is met with silence. "'Tis just an island," says one of them. "No soul swims there no more. It's too green, too many beasts. Unicorns, I heard." Okay, let's walk away. Don't need the armourer. Let's go to the inn. Sitting beneath an open window, 3 guards are arguing about something, but then ease the tension with friendly banter. The innkeeper is leaning on the counter, dividing a small pile of dragon bones. The scavenger is sitting at a table, eating something from a bowl. Julia is chopping vegetables, from time to time taking them to the innkeep. Okay, let's go to the innkeeper. "So, you again. Need anything? Any leftovers?" Oh yeah, you were lucky. I was planning to give it to the boar. He goes to the stove and in a couple of minutes prepares you a meal. Here. You see fresh rye bread and an old grain beer with an intense smell of yeast. While you're eating, he asks if you need anything else. I've only got 4 rations, so maybe I can buy some? 3, that'll do. Do I buy the crossbow? Yeah, I think so. There's been a few times when it would have been nice to have one. Do I have anything you'd like to buy? No, I don't want to sell that. Have you heard of anything about High Island? I've heard this name somewhere. Let me think. He looks around, then picks up a mug and tilts it to peek inside. Oh, right. It's the savage wilds around the volcano. I asked the locals what's with the smoke that can be seen from time to time, but they don't know much about the place either. I'd ask some sailors if I were you. Let's talk. You and your group arrived to the peninsula not long before the village in the west was ruined. He glances at your weapon, then turns away from you, moving a few jars on the shelf, but without achieving anything specific. No, I don't think so. I may be in need of Roadwarden services, but not of their nosiness. I'm not dropping it so easily, you start, and the man lets out an unusually loud chuckle. You notice movement at the entrance, and the man's gestures suddenly get more confident. Is that so? So why can't you figure out what happened to that place by yourself? It was pillaged by humans and destroyed by monsters. He makes an annoyed click with his tongue. Oh, that's one way to put it. He takes a deep breath, getting even larger. Fine, I'll give you that. But I've no interest in changing things as they are and helping you. Now I may now cut a branch on which I sit. You ask him what he wants in return, and he runs his fingers through his bluish hair. Oh, nothing fancy. Just pay me. He sizes you up. No, considering everything. How about 21 coins? That's too much. Got 4 hours 45 before dusk. Where can we get to? Quite far. It's actually not that far to the Elder's Cave. Hunters are on the job there. Yeah, we've only just learned about High Island, haven't we? So we've probably to return to the Elder and ask him about it. Two blue-tailed monkeys are jumping on the rocky mountainside, chasing each other and screaming cheerfully. The old man shuts the door with a resonant thud. What do you need, traveller? I want to learn more about High Island. His eyes widen. Come again? You move your lips slowly as you repeat your question, and his look grows suspicious. Why would you head for that forsaken land? You explain briefly what you've learned about Asterion. The elder listens patiently, but then straightens up and raises his voice. Even his accent gets thicker, as if he's repeating an old sermon. The feet of the living have nothing to find in these ancient woods and their ruins. 'Tis but a graveyard of a tribe long driven out, and their memories deserve to be either forgotten or shared by their descendants. He remains in the same position for another few breaths, then lowers his shoulders and scowls at you. City spies ought to forget it even more than most. Alright, we go to the spring. Maybe we could wash ourselves up a little bit. That's fine. So we've still got 2 hours 45 before dusk. Look at my lips. I need to learn more about High Island. Oh, that worked. He looks you in the eyes, then nods slowly and enters the path leading down the hill, and gestures for you to follow him on his stroll. During his speech, he never glances at your lips and doesn't ask if you have any questions. Centuries ago, a great tribe used to live on High Island. Hunting, farming, mining, fishing. He observes the pond as it gets continuously more muddy. Prospering. The volcano, the Green Mountain, is naked since its last eruption a few years back, but wait another generation and the wilderness will cover it again. There's a sudden movement coming from the grasses on your right, but as you look in that direction you notice that a deer is just observing you, though at an unusually close distance. "'Tis near my place to paint their suffering. What is near secret is that how they've been treated by Hovleven. Join us, or the sea will be taken away from you, they've heard. The corsairs had surrounded the island and attacked anyone on sight, waiting for the tribe to surrender. He can't cover the growing disdain in his voice. After a decade, the 10 cities breached the shore, tired of waiting. Cloaked by night, they crossed the walls that were raised to stop beasts, not human-shaped creatures. With farms burnt, supplies taken, and harbours destroyed, the tribe saw no future for itself. Yet instead of bending to the will of the Emperor, they left on their last hidden ship. At least those who survived. He takes a deeper breath. The sea folk resettled the island, but had no knowledge of it, or of its weird seasons. Beasts and eruptions crushed them, as they had crushed the previous dwellers. There was near a single soul that would gain from all this suffering. I tried to memorize it all. The man observes the bloody remains of a rabbit lying at the side of the road, and after maybe a minute nods for you to follow him back to his garden. To land there, you have to reach the island soon after dusk, when the sea rises. Only then you can reach the cave hidden behind one of the waterfalls. I don't know which waterfall it is. He observes you, making sure that you're listening. And you'll do better by speaking with the tribe of the Green Mountain before you attempt it. 'Tis their land, and you ought not... And you ought to... I don't know why he's staying there. And you ought not to trespass. Of course. Gathering a crew. Oh, what's this? According to what you've learned, you can only reach High Island by a boat, leaving the coast during the day and landing at night time during a high tide. The chance that you're going to find him there on your own is slim, so I need a boat, maybe a few friends or mercenaries. Gather a crew. Interesting. So we do have 2.5 hours, so we can get to Howler's Dell quite easily. Plenty of time left, so I think we do that. You approach the opening gate and then swiftly dismount. A guard approaches you, ready to take your mount to a stable. Good to see you. How are your journeys? I don't have time to talk. Get out of my way. The stablemaster shows up soon after, and you take a step away from Roach. His lips are thinned and he gives a longing glance towards the bridge. I'm broke. Sorry, I... Fill the trough with water from the creek and make sure Roach is comfortable. I'd like to speak to the druidess, actually. The building site hasn't changed much since the last day of your visit. A few druids are weeding the garden and cease once they see you. Elpis arrives from around the corner. I seek knowledge about High Island. There's lightning in her blue eyes, and while the other druids give you suspicious looks, they say nothing. I wish I could teach you, but the truth is... She swallows, and you notice a hint of shame in her voice. I don't know much about that place. There's but one forest speaker who carries this old tale, and 'tis the elder living in the cave in the south. Ask him. With every word, she puts more of her weight on her staff. To do me a favour and teach you what I can. And teach you what I can. Okay. I need your help. I know where I can find a Asterion, but my journey will be difficult. Once you tell her about the island, she puts her left index finger on her lips, thinking, You assisted us in keeping our village safe from greed. You've protected us from the plague, even though you had to sacrifice the sacred fruit. We didn't care for this man, but we see you as our ally and wish you well. Come and see me before you leave. My soul will heal your wounds and strengthen your shell. I'll come to you later on when I'll truly need your powers. Okay, farewell. Timo, we need to speak to. She's at the creek, but takes a break to speak with you, apologising for her crude appearance. She gasps for air with her hands on her knees, but looks you directly in the eyes. I have an answer from Paulus. She shouts and jumps towards you, throwing her arms around your neck. And I had such an awful day. Thank you. With tears in her eyes, she steps away, though your clothes and cheek are already covered with droplets of water. Of course, nothing is said for sure. Her calm words are betrayed by her excited tone. I'll ask my uncle Akakios, to never be so rabid when he swaps dragon bones with you. After a few more minutes of her insisting that you have to come to the wedding, if it occurs, but nothing for sure, but you must promise, but who knows, but you must be there, you leave her with her friends. See you soon. You're wandering through the village. You see a crying boy surrounded by 3 older girls. They clean his injured knee while stopping themselves from laughter. A woman in a brown robe observes you from a distance and walks away when you make eye contact. Don't need the tailor. Now let's go to the main square. You approach the inn. It's getting darker, but not much colder. More than a dozen locals are gathered at or by the tables, playing dice or other games, drinking, eating supper, or simply chatting. The innkeeper is standing behind his counter, filling mugs with beer or buttermilk, while his daughter is cleaning tables with a wet cloth and carrying around a bucket of stream water. Tice is nowhere to be seen. The trader is packing his goods, though with no rush. He's talking with a man who's sewing sacks on a nearby stool. Okay, we could. Well, he's supposedly going to offer us a discount, so we could have a look at what he wants. He actually wants this trollbone tablet. I'm tempted to give it to him now. 3 rings, that's fine. How much do we have now? Is it 12? 12. Okay. What do you have for sale? The fabric. I don't want that. Go to the innkeeper. Eric's also approaches the counter, welcoming you with a wide smile. Are there any old-time sailors around? I'd like to ask them a few questions. Actually, let's get rations first. 2 meals for 1. No, we can do better elsewhere. Yeah, so we'll ask about old-time sailors. All our sailors are old-time sailors. No soul here has seen a ship in years. He starts with a chuckle, then nods towards an elderly man who's resting by a table, rolling an empty mug, and mumbling to himself. Try with him. Thanks. Let's approach the old sailor. He doesn't notice your approach until you sit down opposite him. He raises his chin. One of his eyes is brown, while the other is white from blindness. Having only one ear, a broken nose, and a constantly open mouth, he looks like a soul at the end of a painful journey. But his voice is more amused than tired. And who fell here on my very own plate? You're the kid of, He pauses, leaning forward a bit. Nah, haven't seen you before. You come to buy me a strong mug? You need a few breaths to get through his thick accent, additionally distorted by his lack of teeth. You mean ale? Sure, I'll pay the keep to serve you. -1. You glance at Eric's while he fills up a mug and reach for your pouch. 1 dragon should be enough for a few rounds. A kind traveller. Oh, hard to find such souls since the wartime. You find it difficult to tell if you see a smile or a grimace of pain. Used to be a sign of decency to help each other, both on the land and at sea. With a gasp, he tries to straighten up and reach for his new drink. Can you tell me anything about High Island? He wipes his drooling mouth with his sleeve. His clothes are simple, but clean and tidy. Do you didn't know? Isn't he allowed to land there? Dangerous place and a hurtful memory. Why hurtful? Long before any of us were born, 'twas a home to an old tribe, one who lived close to the land and spirits, but was chased and trapped like a hunted boar, and through no fault of their own. They were strong, but alone couldn't stop the emperors and their brigands. He tilts his head and narrows his living eye. You know what? You sound like a city folk. I'm from Hovleven, but through no fault of my own. Ah, what a decent heart you have. His weak wheeze carries a hint of amusement. After all the days I spent meeting souls from the farthest parts of the land, I'm no one to judge for where they come from. Different thing if you were tied to that place, that den of greed. He takes a sip and helps himself close his mouth with the lip of the mug. I just need to know how to reach the island. You really have nae better things to do. Nae lovers to bed with, nae bread to smell, nae mead to drink. He puts his arm on the table and his cheek on top of it. His voice is getting tired, so you lean forward to hear him. Start with this. Reach the island after dusk from the east. You will nae miss it. The volcano's been smoking for decades now, and many say it hides the treasures of the old tribes. The island's walls are so tall you cannae climb them, but with the night's high tide you'll reach an old port, hidden behind a waterfall. Do all this. He pauses and wipes his wrinkled lips. Or just pay for a ship in the city. They're tall as fortresses. That's what you need. Have you ever landed on the island? He raises his head just enough to take another sip of ale. I can't recall much. We were desperate, hungry and hurt, and did what we could to survive. That night was a nightmare, and I only ever woke up. He lowers his head again and closes his eyes. The dead one remains half open. I stand up. I leave the square. Okay, well, it's kind of bedtime, isn't it? So I guess we go to sleep. To rent. We're going to need to pay for a boat, so I'm inclined to maybe be a bit cheap with this. We'll sleep on a pelt. It's warm here, but the mouflon skin allows your back to rest a bit. You wake up a couple of times during the night. The smell of the cooked stew fuels your hunger, and the staff returns to the room once every hour or so to stir the pot. You wake up early, but leave the building to check up on Roach and give it water from the creek. The innkeeper is sitting near the door from time to time carrying out another bowl with either stew or gruel. Tice is nowhere to be seen. Alright, let's leave. So, where do we want to go today? I would quite like to go and see the girl here. And this is actually where we leave for High Island. Yeah, I think I should go speak to her. I haven't spoken to her for ages. There might be stuff we can say to her. The hamlet is peaceful, silent like a dead tree. The waves are getting higher. Hit by the chilling wind, you adjust your cloak. Egidia is sitting near the entrance, carving a bowl from a piece of driftwood. I return to her. She waves at you from a distance. Her voice is bright. Good to see you alive. I think Asterion has sailed to High Island. Do you know anything about it? She opens her mouth, but needs a few breaths to speak. He left like that, without a word, to that death trap. She raises her bow and points in the northwest. You can see the island from here. 'Tis nae easy to get there, even on a boat. When you mention you'd appreciate any tip that could help you survive there, she moves her lips left and right, humming to herself. I haven't seen it myself, but I heard that when the winters are at their darkest, the water from here to there is all frozen, and even a big beast can get there on their paws. Seeing your puzzled look, she explains. The creatures there are nae too different from the ones we have here. The more you learn about them, the more prepared you'll be. Before you change the subject, she lets out a huff. I do hope you'll bring him back. I could use your help on the island. Her curiosity grows as you describe your plan. And you think he may still be alive, truly? After your vague nod, she straightens up, raising her bow in salute. You helped me already, so 'tis only fair for me to join you. And if you've ne'er boat yet, you can use mine. Ooh, use her boat. That's cool. Yeah. Free boat. Do you have any idea what happened to the village in the south? Nah, really. I was still this tall. She raises her open hand, palm down to her chest. I just heard 'tis difficult, and that I shouldn't ask about it. She then bites her lower lip. I've never been thinking about it for years. Maybe I should, knowing it was Tice who told me this. Time to leave, but we've got a boat. Hey. So we could actually... Maybe we need more crew. How much time do we have still? Loads. Nearly 12 hours. We could go... Let me just check that I'm wearing my winged pendant. I think I am. Worn, yeah. Let's go and deliver the message to old Pagos. And we can maybe speak to the monks as well. It's been a while since we were there. Still got to Quintus some rations, but I think we only need that to get through the gate, whereas we don't need to do that right now. Let's go to old Pagos then. Through the closed gate you hear muffled conversations and echoes of stone cutting. You knock and Tertia soon orders to open it. The gate's open there now. You see a hint of a smile in her brown eyes. Ah, it's good to see you again, Sir Boring. Trying to learn more about High Island. Give me a moment. She walks deeper into the village and asks a few people about something you can't fully hear. Once she's back, there's no joy in her eyes. The illness has already taken whom you wanted to speak with. The old sailors from Haller's Dell, husband and wife, who found the true word of the right, now gone. Her voice is at the brink of cracking. She closes her brown eyes and regains her composure with a few breaths. You may learn more in the monastery, but the monks rarely share their secrets. You told me that Tice had grand plans 10 years ago. Is this related to the ruins in the south? Her breath gets heavy. Warden, studying the past is a part of your duties, I realise that. She closes her eyes. But you'll find naught of worth in that place, and naught that can be fixed. My duty is to keep everyone safe, and I can only do so through silence. Eudocia has a message for you. The Warden ought to know about Steep House, little otter. She squeezes her spear tightly. Raccoon isn't one of us anymore. She starts with confidence, then pauses. But I'll consider her words. Alright, I'm not getting any more out of that. Let's go to the monks. A brown and golden monkey is sneaking around the hourglass, avoiding the looks of the dwellers. You spot more than a dozen hooded figures absorbed by their work, in the fields and among the fruit trees. One of them is hanging by the hourglass, polishing it with a cloth. You call the monks by hitting the sticks and the drawbridge lowers. Eli welcomes you with a cheerful wave of his bandaged hand. "Salutations! Glad to see thee in one piece." His young companion is right next to him, observing the sky with a wide grin. I can't remember what he's asked me to do. About the things you asked me to do. I'm listening. I learned more about the engravings covering the golems. Okay. Eli's eyes are wide open. He and Decima exchange telling glances. He rubs his bandaged hands. If those signs work, who knows what kind of work she can select next. His voice is tense but hoarse, forcing him to cough. Take supplies, maybe? Hunt humans? I told you quite a lot about these creatures already. He spares you a kind smile. You did. I'll speak with the prelate soon. Let me know when thou art ready to collect thy reward. I will. I want to collect my reward, a secret. What overwhelms thee? I feel like we know quite a lot about High Island at this point, but the finding out about the ruined village may be better. He looks at the huge hourglass and rubs his hands together, gathering his thoughts for a good minute. It happened 10 years ago. His voice is solemn but entwined with remorse. At that time, Thais of Howler's Dell offered the tribes to unite under her command. Taxes for the services of her guards. She can spare a strong bunch of people. Thou wouldst need dozens of armed people or the wrath of the herds to break through Howler's walls anyway. The people of Steep House were the first ones to refuse, even though they had been the closest allies of Howler's. In return, Thais' guards and druids made an example of them. The first raid in recent memory. Oh, she raided them. Steep House surrendered without a fight, but the mayor didn't know when to stop and almost turned that place into ruins. The locals had to cut all the trees in their garden to fix their broken houses and walls, and turned a clearing into farmlands to have any crops. But nature had already been pushed too much. Before the end of the season, Steep House was attacked by, again, this time by the beasts. Only a few souls survived. You try to ask him for more details, but he coughs in his bandaged hand and gestures for you to step back. People want to forget those days, Warden. Nah, they agree those days ought to be forgotten. Asking for the truth won't do thee any favours. Thou knowest what thou must. That's quite a tale. Steep House. Having discovered the truth, you could force the people of Howler's Dell to confront their past, though they may not take kindly to your threats and requests. The more you learn about their deeds and conflicts, the more tools you'll have to use against them, if they will listen to me at all. Okay, but rather than running back and doing that, we probably ought to do another loop and talk to everyone about that. I seek knowledge about High Island. Then it was wise of thee to visit our order, he chuckles, but I'd rather save such knowledge for the worthy. Got no reason just to throw it away. I consider asking him to read Thais' letter to me. She is evil, isn't she? You frown. The city officials may not be happy about receiving a broken seal. Can you read this for me? He gives it a hungry look and rubs his hands together. I mean, it's sealed. I open it with my knife. Don't worry about it. He unrolls the scroll gently. He has to keep the parchment close to his face, overcoming his weak eyes. Unusual shaped letters, but they're understandable. Same with initials and pictures. The lines are even. Bit shabby quill, good ink. He observes the contents patiently, then starts to read out loud, though his hoarse voice forces him to make a few pauses. The letter is long and filled with boring official salutations. One of the parts directly contradicts what Thais has told you, and even the monk narrows his eyes, repeating the entire section. The beliefs of our fathers are sacred to us, but depending on the proof of your goodwill, we will permit your mercenaries to stay within our walls. I promise they will be treated with the dignity they deserve. One more part also grabs your attention. This piece of information is sensitive, but I trust that you will put it to good use. Gale Rocks, a village set near the northern shore, participates in trade with the local bandits led by their own Glaucia. Their alliance grows in strength, and therefore brings many threats to our potential collaboration. Once he finishes, Eli returns the scroll to you. So, this is how the stuff are in Howlers. Interesting, Warden. He adjusts his hood and spares Decima a grateful nod, reaching for the cup of water she offers him. I don't look forward to seeing the priests of the United Church and all their soldiers. I've already given away the snakebait flower. What time is it? Oh, I've got loads of time. Travel. So I'd like to do Foggy's and Howler's Dell. Sorry, Gale Rocks. Maybe Creeks again. Let's head to Foggy's Lake. The surface of the lake is restless and the cold wind strikes the tavern's hanging barrel again and again. You adjust your cloak. The tavern's windows and doors are open and a bunch of furs are spread over the fence. We're fighting bugs, says the shorter man when he sees your look. I'm going to approach the foragers and see if any of them want to sail with me. Oh, here we go. They wait for you to speak. I'm looking for a few souls willing to explore High Island with me. Stupid or what? Ilan burst into laughter. There are easier ways to seek death and dragons aren't worth that shit. Zvi, however, gives you a long look. Why? You mentioned briefly your search for Asterion. Sounds like a waste of effort. He adjusts his cloak. But I'll do it, for a fair pay. I'm good with knives, sneaking by and making small things out of wood. I wonder. He's kind of like the person that Glaucier asked us to find. He's wearing black fur. He's good with knives. Don't know what colour his eyes are. The tall forager straightens up and looks his companion in the eyes, demanding explanation, but the man in black fur waves it off. I'm bored of the inn, and I'd hate spending another winter in Creeks. His voice carries a hint of an apology. Aye, we need no dragons here, but I'll take them south behind hags. The distance between them grows with every breath. What's your price? Well, you did well during our hunt, so I assume you know what you're doing. 11 dragons. Maybe a bit less in the future if I see you're useful for our tribesfolk and you can handle yourself. I'm good at sneaking, even better at stabbing things, and I move well. Climb, crawl. Isn't that all that we have now? That's all our money. But yeah, that would be 2 crew members. That seems pretty good. Very well. Take this and be ready to leave soon. Easy. I always have by my side what I'm going to take anyway. He takes your pouch and gives you a wide smile. Ilan observes the lake. His lips are shaking. Oh dear, I'm sorry, Ilan. Walk away. Let's go to the tavern. I'd like to eat one of our meals. She stretches out her arm and grabs a bowl. Give me a moment. You sit down at the clean table. After a moment, the keeper brings you old rye bread, a fistful of nuts, a roasted rat, and a mug of acorn brew. Yum, yum. Once you're done, Foggy packs the leftovers for you as a snack for the rest of the day. And mentions that you've already paid for another 3 meals. What can we buy? Just the meals. I've already got some left. What do we need? We could part with the troll's urine. 4 dragons? Deal. Need the money. Anything else she wants? No, she doesn't want it. Still got some time left, so I guess we go. And we could travel to... might be able to do both today. Let's go to Gale Rocks first, though. The fishers have returned to the village, but the work is still far from being over. You see lights and smoke coming from the eastern part of the village, where the fish are being gutted and prepared for smoking. The guards instruct you not to disturb anyone after dusk and tell you that you should visit Fulvia, who may have a room to spare. Most locals greet you warmly, often addressing you by your name. Well, they've really turned around on me, haven't they? Let's talk to Photios. I didn't find out what happened to his daughter. The exhausted fishers move slowly, allowing the other villagers to unload the barge. Photios keeps a lantern in his hand, giving commands to the carriers. How's Phoebe doing? Oh, she's far from well, stranger. He avoids your eyes. She sucked on the stone she did, went to sleep right after, and still sleeping. Nothing wakes her up. Touch, water, shouts. He stops when his voice cracks. Have you ever been to High Island? Bit of a non sequitur. Why, you're a sailor now? He doesn't hide his sneer, but after you say you may need to get there, he reaches for the beak on his neck. Don't you know that visiting that island is forbidden? Not just by the Green Mountain tribe, but because it's a dangerous place. Wicked and wild. So you haven't been there, you ask? Right, and I don't plan to. Them harpies sit on every rock on the route from our pier to the island, and would take twice as long to sail around them. Rowing there would exhaust anyone, barring the most experienced arms. I'll see you later, I guess. Navika, the boatmaker. What can you tell me about High Island? She speaks slowly, stepping between words as if they're poison ivy. Not much. It's a deadly place, and we're forbidden to travel there, we are. All them old deals between the tribes and villages, who could understand them? It ain't like the fish there are worth the effort. I need you to make me a boat that can reach there. She freezes. To High Island? Are you serious? After you confirm your words, she shakes her head slightly. Looking for ways to die? I ain't making you a boat. Her tone mocks the very thought. It would take us seasons of work, it would. If not a year or more. I tell you what, I fixed that one old piece of driftwood some time back. It stays afloat. It really takes a lot of muscle to push forward, for it has only the paddles. It's now wasting itself under the rains. So what's your price? 37 coins. She runs her eyes over you. Well, I could speak with a few neighbours of mine, but judging by what I know about you... She crosses her arms. 37 coins would be fair. I only think we got a boat anyway. I was just interested in what she would charge. We've got some free baths, haven't we? Yeah, let's get a little bit clean there. The bathhouse. Petronius. Yeah, I don't want to speak to him really. The tailor knows a little bit, not much. We go and see Severina. You ascend the hill. The guard stands up and puts his woodwork on his pillow, then asks you to wait. You hear his and the head woman's voices coming from the hall, and once the man returns, he nods gently. You're asked to enter. I follow him inside. Severina puts away her writing instruments and looks at you keenly. What's the matter? You say that the people of Old Pagos have accused you of thievery, but you do know already that Glaucia lied to you about different events. You could heal ill wounds by helping the sick and weak. Your words are harsh, outsider, but hard to argue with, all right. I haven't much of my own. She glanced at the sleeves of her dress and the cup-like seashell. But I'll present this case to the council. You've already helped us learn that the tool-selling caravan won't take their share of our fish, so we may have a few barrels to spare. No, I can't promise you much. I can't promise you anything, actually. A few barrels of fish is enough to save lives. She glances at her granddaughter, lets her fingertips tap against each other and sighs. Not a large price. I'll do my best. And I'll vote yes, says the guard with a wide smile. Thanks for being willing to try at least. She glances at the exit. She's always so keen for me to leave. I'm trying to learn more about High Island. Then you should ask someone interested in old tales. We forbid our fishers to swim near it, and our neighbours ain't challenging us on this. She reaches for one of the tablets and notes something quickly, and as she carries on, she sounds disinterested more than frustrated. The volcano there erupts rarely and merely hits us with the tides. We have nothing to gain from those woods but claws and thorns, and even getting to the land is a dangerous task. Thanks. Our case against Glaucia? Are we ready for that? Maybe. So you say. Severina moves away from the table slowly and with a tired sigh stands up, though it doesn't make her much taller. After seeing the head woman's nod, the crossbow woman leaves her weapon leaning against the chair and runs outside. It will take a while before my granddaughter gathers everyone here. A few of the elders like to pretend she's not there. I'll pick up some berries with honey for us. She heads upstairs, followed by the unusual creaking of the planks. The perfumed guard approaches you with an awkward smile. I won't ask you to leave your blade in another room, but it would be impolite to face the council. Well, he points to your axe and gams on, like a thug. Well, we want to persuade them, don't we? So let's just say, yeah, fine. Many sweetened berries later, the room feels crowded by comparison with your regular visits, even though there's less than 24 people spread around the benches or sitting on the stairs. You're told to sit down on Severina's chair, facing the entire council. For now, they're mostly ignoring your presence, chatting about the increasing frequency of gatherings such as this one.
We're not getting any younger, darling,
says an elder introduced to you as the previous head fisher, and Severina responds to him with a smile warmer than any you've seen from her.
That's all right. No one here gets older quicker than I do behind this desk,
she responds, and the man chuckles. You've met some of them already, but the perfumed man is eager to announce every newcomer to you, dropping many names and the roles they are responsible for. Most of the elders are described to you by their past trades: artisans, overseers, fighters, and one storyteller, drawing a lot of attention with her hoarse yet sonorous jokes. Even the faces you recognise look different, wearing elegant tunics, robes and dresses, with jewellery that for once doesn't get in the way of their tiresome labour. Aside from them, there are a few younger people, the head salter, head cooper, head cook. Even though their backs are stronger, they seem more timid, not willing to interrupt the elders in their decades-old conversations. I observe the door, waiting for the last soul. Gasping for air, Photios runs inside, still buckling his belt, explaining that there was more work to do. No one seems surprised, and one of the other artisans pats his shoulder.
Come, have a honeyed berry,
his predecessor invites him loudly, but Severina claps her hands a few times, encouraging everyone to take a seat. She stays at the spot just next to the desk, and for the first time you notice the subtle scent of flat violet flowers that surrounds her.
We have rough hours ahead of us, we do, she starts. The Roadwarden wants us to reconsider the ties between our village and Glacia's group.
It's our group as well, the Fletcher chips in, and after the head digger scoffs, starting to respond, the head woman claps again.
We ain't arguing right now.
She runs her hand over the crowd with a reprimand.
Over this summer, we've all had a chance to present our views thoroughly. Let's allow the outsider to speak in peace, and once this is done, she meets your eyes, we'll open the discussion and move to the vote. So the officials of Hobleven may know our answer before autumn.
The puzzled looks and murmurs make you think that not everyone here was aware of the scope of the topic at hand, but they don't get much time to express their discontent.
So speak, outsider, will you?
Oh, sorry, it's the old fisher.
So speak, outsider, will you?
Starts the old fisher, and the hall quiets down. I'll start with what I've already discussed with Severina. You describe your search for the lost merchants and the bandits' willingness to act against the council's orders. Their response is mixed. Some observe you with disbelief, others with anger. But the first words you hear belong to Photios, the head fisher.
I'm sure they had good reason.
Reason or not, good or not, we need these tools, we do, and she takes them back south.
Domitia, the cooper, raises her voice.
We better learn how to make iron and spices out of thin air, adds one of the elders, for we won't see that caravan again.
After a few minutes of back and forth, the head woman tells you to move on to the next thing, so that everyone has a broader understanding before they get bogged down by the details. There's a lot to say here. I'm just reading through the options. If you've no doubt your support for the bandits is justified, why do most of your people have no right to know the truth about everything that she's done? She's far from being just a treasure hunter. One of the toothless elders chuckles.
Oh, we don't merely hide things from them. We straight out lie, for lying gets more votes.
His voice drips with disdain, but Severina silences him with her stare.
More of them than you think, outsider.
She turns her head towards you,
but don't expect all them workers to push away their families. When I moved here as a young girl, I saw my parents only 3 times before they died.
Another elder looks at you reproachfully.
At least I can see my boy every season or so, and he's near murderer, and I will nae apologise for him to anyone.
A few people nod in agreement, while others observe their own boots. Even though Glaucia's band knows only combat, they didn't lift a finger to secure the tunnel in the south. That's the one I did. It's no surprise to me that the wilds reclaim the roads with such ease.
Looking after roads is harder than it sounds, stranger, starts the head woodcutter. We used to send dozens of souls every season or less, cutting and clearing. That ain't an easy task.
Hearing that you frown, but it's Luno, the digger, who speaks first.
She is enough of a group to do some work. It would be risky, all right, but it would be a start.
Glaucia is putting the lives of others into danger out of fear of her. I tell him about Quintus.
She threatened him.
The Salter speaks with disbelief, but Severina takes your claim seriously.
If we were to speak with this man sometime in the future, are you sure his testimony would not reveal you to be a liar?
Seeing your nod, an uncomfortable grumbling spreads through the crowd.
At least they protect the gate.
One of the elders starts, but Fulvia waves it off. They could guard the gate on their own if they were keen to do so. A brief quarrel is cut by the headwoman who gestures for you to go on. Asterion's no longer around, but he recognised the threat presented by Glaucia. People are afraid of her. Eudocia, Lazon. Trade can't go on like this. Why do we care about Asterion? You look for contempt in Domitia's eyes, but her question seems to be honest and doesn't find a clear answer.
Fools are afraid of anything that doesn't boil in their pot.
Porcia the cook shrugs this topic off.
When Glaucia and I were little lasses, she wouldn't even break a squab's neck.
A few other anecdotes follow, such as the one about her always caring for her parents, but Rafina calls for them to shut it.
Don't speak of her as if she were a child. She's not the same. She went from a tailor to a bandit, from not even a mother to a leader. Haven't you talked with her in the last few years? She wears a different soul now.
The locals exchange looks, and none of them argue with the tailor's statement. The people of Olpagos no longer trust you. You've lost a valuable ally.
They call us thieves.
Photios the fisher raises his hands in defence. We've done nothing to them. The perfume guard sighs, giving you a sad look.
After listening to Roadwarden, I've no doubt Glaucia's to blame. She's a liar and a thief.
One of the elders scoffs.
Without her in the woods, we would have never been accused in the first place. Now, after all them bandits got themselves killed by the city folk, every missing pie will be our fault.
They argue for a few minutes, but it seems like most people are convinced there's only one possible thief of the statue. What? Statue? Howler's Dell is already willing to negotiate with Hovleven. The endeavour to make the peninsula safer may be easier than you think.
Tas must have some big plans if she's willing to loosen her grasp, starts Albus the Salter,
and the wide-open eyes of the council show that they're thinking the same. They stare at you in silence and look at their headwoman. After a few moments, she turns towards them.
What is there to say? If we're to take a place at the table, we ought to make sure it'll be a good one.
That's all I have to say.
Right, so we've listened, we did,
starts the old fisher, whose posture grows more lax by the longer the gathering goes.
But why do we trust what the outsider,
he scowls at you,
thinks of our matters?
Severina doesn't look at you, but her voice is gentle.
Our neighbours see the Roadwarden as a guest, not just a stranger. We have no promises to make. All we have to do is decide if we're ready to speak with the city officials.
A few of our artisans have already spoken with the Roadwarden about our trade, starts Albus the Salter. The city may have a reason to send their mouthpiece here after all.
Porcia the cook mentions that from what she's heard at her diner, you did some good for the villagers. Photios admits, though respectfully, that you've done for him exactly what he asked of you. One of the elders, Paulus's grandmother, mentions that you mentions the help you offered to her family. Luno the digger says that the day when the village may once again need to use the southern tunnel may be approaching quickly, and that thanks to your help it won't take as much effort. I look around, waiting for everyone to speak. The perfumed man clears his throat.
Alright, better get to the discussion before we fall asleep. I vote a strong yes. Anyway, the news the Roadwarden brought to us about Olpagos is enough to convince me. Come, Saborin.
He nods at you and heads towards the exit. We'll leave the hall. You follow the scent of cloves until the man closes the door behind you, and you hear the thudding window shutters on the ground floor of the keep. As you approach the gate, the village seems more empty than usual, but the smoke doesn't stop coming from the buildings of artisans. There's no time to stop the work. The guard tells you to stay nearby, places his pillow on the stairs and sits down. He observes you for some time, and then takes out his usual knife and focuses his attention on a new wooden log. I look at the object in his hands. What are you carving? He shows you what looks like a few tiny planks already detached from the rest of the log, as well as 4 wheels cored in the centre.
It will be a wagon. Last time I made a wheeled fish. I'm good with wheels,
he explains, giving a warm yet sad smile. You've got a kid? I look at his wrinkles. A grandkid?
He grins. Oh, I have quite a family, I do. But this one is for my daughter. I'm still new at crafts, but she ain't picky.
You ask him how old she is, and his eyes seem both defeated and accepting.
30. She merely holds the soul of a child. She won't ever go to the hills, beach or forest, but she has good imagination, she does. I used to give her simple toys, swords and figurines, but she'd rather play with the ones that can move, and the wheels are easiest for me.
You spend some time chatting about his experience, and the time goes quicker. God, have we gone through the night? No, it is night time. Every now and then, some sort of screaming or laughter reaches you from the keep. But other than that, the closed door and windows keep you without a clue. After more than an hour, both you and the man are called inside. Let's go then. The eyes inside the keep are tired, yet gentle. The council sits on the benches with one of the elders napping and some of the younger members looking longingly at the exit. The windows are open once again, but the air is still stale, in part because of the flower perfumes. Severina is standing behind her desk, leaning on the top, glancing at you with hardly any emotion. You notice that many of her wax tablets have switched places and half of them are open.
The vote is done. Weak, yes, she states solemnly. If Glaucia wants to remain one of us, she needs to bring her band here and stay free of robbery. We don't trust the officials and merchants, but we're ready to negotiate with them. Now, let's disband and eat something.
I thank the council. A few of the souls thank you for trying to make a change, while others congratulate you. The old fisher, who found himself something stronger to drink, feels it's necessary for him to take you to the side and explain that you shouldn't trust the guilds or priests anyway. You mostly nod, not paying attention. The younger members of the council help the elders cross the yard, and as they engage in friendly chatter, they forget about the gathering quickly. The headwoman stops you before you follow their lead.
There's one more thing, Saboring.
Coming from her lips, your name sounds strange to you.
If you don't have to depart for Hoblevan just yet, can you pass our decision to Glaucia?
And for nothing in return, I expect. She scowls at you.
And what can I give you in return?
Free food would be nice, maybe?
Well, in that case, I'll speak with Porcia, our head cook. You'll find her just down the path, close to the hill.
Great. She observes you without a word, but her fingers are tapping on the table. The guard gives you a telling look. Farewell. Before you leave the hall, Severina asks you to wait.
The people of our village are sharing good rumours about you, she starts. Quite a feat it is. If you're as much of a hard worker as I've heard, maybe you'll find a way to restore something we lost to an actual vagabond. Not a young lad, called himself Pyros, was staying with us almost half a year a summer ago, and one day left before sunrise, carrying away our iron ingot.
Her granddaughter gives her a silent but pained look.
If he had any sort of wits, I'm sure he left the peninsula a long time ago, through the eastern route, or died trying. But maybe he was dumber than I thought.
You ask exactly what she wants you to do, and she responds without hesitation.
Merely return the ingot. It was nothing more than crude iron, not something to murder each other for, but still.
She points at you with her stylus.
A sin worthy of a coward, and believe me, not the first robbery that's happened to us.
I nod. I'll let you know if I find it. A few elderly people stare at you, commenting on your appearance, but look away when they notice your attention. You go to sleep. Okay, we don't have much money. Yeah, I think half a day of labour. I think I'd rather spend the 2. I think time is going to become our most concerning resource. 13 days left. The shivers wake you up and you open the door slightly, letting the dense fog in. You see a few lights, most likely lanterns, and you hear a few patrolling guards. One of them shouts at you to stay inside. The harpies may descend at lone wanderers. Don't need the pneuma, so the fall will make the fogs even more common. Soon roads will get too dangerous for a single rider. Is this a dream? You are in the labyrinth of alleys and steep house, which shifts after every step. You wander by the blooming gardens, burning houses, laughing newlyweds, cut-off limbs, fresh hair pies, chewed bones, carts loaded with barrels and falling trees. You're sitting at a table in front of the Ape Ale Inn, surrounded by laughing skeletons. Thais, naked and covered in blood and ashes, holds your hand, forcing you to stuff your mouth with raw meat from a bottomless bowl. Every bite, tasting like the metal of an old key, burns your mouth, but you can't scream. The unyielding grasp brings pain and delight in equal measure, and you wouldn't dare to try to escape it. The smoke coming from your roasting flesh starts to fill your eyes, but they have no tears to spare. You wake up and reach for a water skin so you can rinse the ash from your hand. It takes you a few heartbeats before you realise where you are. The villagers wouldn't have agreed to it if they knew what was to come. Tice lied to them, and she's the one who bears responsibility. She does. She's a nasty little figure, Tice. We might be able to do something about her. You're surrounded by darkness. You quickly gather your things and leave the room without a word from the keeper, who's sitting outside next to the open door. The villagers hurriedly preparing for a busy day. The workers gather the wagons at the gates, push the barrels onto the barge, move equipment out of the sheds and shove meals into their bags. The alleys are much calmer. The overseers are waking up their crews and discussing their goals and plans. The only souls that can afford a longer rest are the children and the elderly. Someone asks you about your day, and as you look around you see many smiles and hand waves. You go too. Well, I'm going to get fed first of all, I think. Because their meals are free now, aren't they? Yeah, we'll take a zero-cost large meal, please, and thank you. The cook turns around, grabbing this and that and placing whatever she finds on the table. You're served hot, baked trout, covered with a very salty, butter-based garlic sauce. Yum yum. Better than roasted rat at Foggy's. Okay. So, I think we're going to leave it there for today. We've got 12 days before the autumn. What do we want to achieve? There's a few things. Got to gather a crew. We've got Egidia and... Ooh. The map from the giant statue. Maybe easier for me to cross the island. Hardzvai. So that's good. Need to go to White Marshes and talk to Arentius at some point too. We can give the hidden pouch back while we're there. The ruined village, what's happening there? We're going to wait for the... if we look at travel, yeah, it's not ready for... We need one more day for the hunters to clear that. That's fine. So I think when we come back, what we're going to do, we're going to head round to Creeks. And I think we might have time to hire them to come and clear this fallen tree, which we've been asked to do. Get a bit of money for that. We need another crew member. Yeah, that'll probably take most of tomorrow. Then I'd like to come back and do White Marshes and maybe confront Tyus in Howler's Dell at some point. We'll be able to get back in the ruined village. It's called Steep House, we now know. So yeah, so maybe we do that. And we can probably stay the night at the Watchtower if necessary. Or at Eudocia's. Then on the following day we'll go round again to the Pell to the north. Maybe we can get Dalet to join us on the trip to High Island. Check in at Steep House, then maybe go and confront Tyus. Or maybe we go to White Marshes, then backtrack to what Howler's Dell. But anyway, those are the next 2 to 3 days of stuff we're going to do. But we're going to end it there for today. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you're still enjoying Roadwarden as much as I'm still enjoying playing it. It feels like it's starting to build to a bit of a conclusion now, a lot of these sort of quest lines that we've been following. So that's pretty cool. If you did enjoy it, then please do hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. And in the meantime, I hope to see you again for more Roadwarden. Bye for now.